What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the TYSK Report. You should already know what time it is, so let's dive into these tech articles. The Rivian's R2 next-gen batteries will be made in the US by LG Energy. Rivian's R2 vehicles will be powered by batteries made domestically in the US by South Korea's LG Energy Solution, the company announced in its third quarter earnings report. The battery packs that Rivian currently uses in its R1T and R1S vehicles are assembled at its Normal, Illinois factory using cells manufactured in South Korea by Samsung SDI. Now, the cells will be produced in the US to better comply with tax credit requirements outlined by the Inflation Reduction Act. In a letter to shareholders, Rivian said the cells would be manufactured during their first year at LG's plant in Queen Creek, Arizona. The next-gen battery pack will be lighter, less complex, and cheaper to produce than the current batteries, Rivian said. The company also expects a meaningful reduction in dollar per kilowatt hour at the pack level when compared to the R1 platform. Rivian has said that the R2 will go into production during the first half of 2026, but with Trump also promising to eliminate President Joe Biden's EV subsidies, the question remains whether struggling EV companies like Rivian will be able to stay afloat amid what's expected to a more uncertain market. That last statement was very important because, yes, Rivian has been struggling and they've been going through some challenges, and with President-elect Trump coming into office in January, who knows what's going to happen, and they could find themselves not being able to move forward in the way they want to. Also, they do have to compete with all the other EV companies that are killing it out there, such as Tesla, and then over in China, you got BYD and a little bit of Xpeng, and then also a few other companies who are rising in other parts of the world. So from a global standpoint, they are going to have to find a way to overcome those obstacles, and hopefully they will be able to keep their projected plans of what they plan to do and not be interfered by what's to come with the new office and administration coming in 2025. But we shall see what happens with Rivian in the new year, and I'll make sure to keep you updated. In the next article, Nvidia to cap game streaming hours on GeForce Now instead of raising fees. Nvidia has announced some big changes to its GeForce Now cloud streaming service. The existing priority membership is being renamed to Performance with 1440p streaming, ultra-wide resolution support, and the ability to save graphics settings across streaming sessions. Nvidia is also introducing a 100-hour monthly playtime cap for new Performance or Ultimate GeForce Now members starting on January 1st, 2025. New GeForce Now members that sign up for the service from 2025 onward will have a cap on monthly playtime set at 100 hours. That works out to around 3 hours of usage every day of the month, and Nvidia says it's putting the cap in place to avoid increasing membership prices in the foreseeable future. GeForce Now subscribers will also be able to carry over 15 hours of unused time automatically to the next month, but if you hit the 100-hour cap, then you'll need to purchase additional playtime or play using the basic rigs for the remainder of the month. GeForce Now subscribers will be able to purchase 15 hours of extra playtime with the Performance 15-hour blocks priced at $2.99 and the Ultimate 15-hour playtime priced at $5.99. So that's just some updated news when it comes to Nvidia and GeForce Now, and I do wonder when it comes to this cloud streaming service if the customers who are using it are going to be upset by these new rules to come and if they are going to go to some other competitor. But then on the other side, it is Nvidia, and I'm sure those graphics are amazing, so they don't want to go to another competitor and find that the quality is way less than what Nvidia is providing. So that's also something that they might be considering. But one thing I can say for certain is that when you want more of something, of course you have to pay for it or you have to work for it. So in this instance, Nvidia is looking to help out by not raising the prices, but more than likely we could see in the future that they may change it to that because people would still want to pay for that quality. We'll see what happens with it, and I'll make sure to keep you updated. Let's move on to the next article. Audi launches a new brand in China without the four-ring logo. Audi is making a big change to its branding for the Chinese market with a new logo that lacks the automaker's famous four-ring emblem. In Shanghai, the company showed off the new Audi logo on the front of its new E-Concept electric sportback that notably lacks its broadly used e-tron branding. In a press release, Audi CEO Gernot Dahlner said it's hoping to tap into China's more tech-savvy customers who expect leading connectivity as well as automated driving. Reuters reported in August that Audi was planning a rebrand for China, where the automaker sold less than 10,000 vehicles in the country in the first half of 2024. Audi says the Audi E-Concept represents a preview of 3 upcoming mid and full-size models it will introduce starting in mid-2025. Audi formed a partnership with Chinese state-owned SAIC Motors and placed its former electric models head Firmin Sonera as the new team CEO. A new event advanced digitized platform was developed through the partnership, featuring an 800-volt architecture that underpins the E-Concept. So these are just some quick images of the Audi E-Concept. It looks like a very sleek vehicle, and I'm sure they are working on making it very nice for those tech-savvy individuals they were speaking about out there in China. So Audi's parent company, Volkswagen, has been struggling out there in China when it comes to trying to push out some EVs. And of course, they have to compete with the likes of Tesla, BYD, and a lot of other companies out there who are having great success. So it's going to be an uphill battle for them. And one thing about the Audi E-Concept is it may be a little late because other companies have been pushing out EVs for years and a very long time. But then hopefully Audi may be leaning on their customers or their brand in itself in hopes that people will want to try out their vehicle. So I'll make sure to keep you updated if any more information arises with Audi out there in China or anywhere else globally, worldwide. Let's move on to the next article. Canada orders shutdown of TikTok offices over security risks but won't block app. Canada has ordered the closure of ByteDance operations in Canada, specifically the offices of TikTok Technology Canada Incorporated, citing national security risk. Those risks do not extend to the app itself. Consumers can still download, use, and create content for TikTok, and businesses can still advertise on it. The decision to use a social media application or platform is a personal choice, said Francois Philippe Champagne, the country's Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, in a statement. The statement did not specify more about the security risk, but the company has been under scrutiny for years over how it handles user data on the platform. Critics allege variously that user data is harvested by China and in ways that cannot be fully audited. TikTok has repeatedly denied this is the case. Despite its mega popularity, TikTok has been simmering in hot water in Canada for a while. The latest development is the result of a national security review under the Investment in Canada Act. That review was prompted after Canada banned the use of TikTok on all government devices in February 2023. That ban remains intact. So that is just some of the latest news when it comes to TikTok, and I'll make sure to keep you updated. In the next article, Meta reportedly slashes funding for third-party VR games amid greater push for lifestyle content. Meta may be rethinking its approach to third-party app funding as the company has reportedly cut funds to some outside VR game developers, whilst reshifting its focus to non-gaming apps. Citing unnamed Meta staffers, the company has reportedly cut funding for some outside app developers amid a wider shift to fund apps that have seen comparatively better traction. The information maintains Meta is hoping to boost lifestyle apps such as fashion, beauty, and music. Funding for these apps is set to arrive at some point via an accelerator that grants seed stage funding. So it does suck that funding has been cut for some of those people working on those projects, but I can understand why Meta is doing this. The metaverse is still supposed to be this world where you can do all these different things and not just have it siloed to a few couple of things. So with bringing in new content like fashion and beauty, that's going to bring in more people. And usually when you're bringing in more people, you're going to get more usage, and with more usage, it's going to expand. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next with this. I'll make sure to keep you updated. Let's move on to the next article. Monarch Tractor lays off 10% in restructuring towards software and licensing AV tech. Monarch Tractor has laid off around 10% of its workforce as part of a restructuring that will see it prioritize non-agricultural customers, license its autonomous technology, and boost sales of its AI-powered farm management software. Around 35 employees were cut this week by the Livermore, California-based autonomous electric tractor startup that has raised a total of $220 million since it was founded in 2018. Some Monarch workers told TechCrunch they were let go without severance. It's the second cut this year. Monarch previously laid off around 15% of its workforce in July. The industry has slowed down on acquisition of new equipment and new solutions, especially in the core farming sectors, Ben Mesa said. But in the meantime, as a platform company, we also have some very exciting non-agriculture opportunities that started sprouting because of our success in AG. He said the company, which has shipped 500 tractors to date, is now focused on widening its customer base in a number of ways. It is expanding beyond agricultural customers to golf courses, solar farms, and even municipalities. It's also putting more focus on selling its Wingspan AI farm management software, and Monarch is in talks with other off-road vehicle companies to license its autonomous technology. So as businesses look to keep up with the times and find ways to stay afloat, sometimes these things can happen. Hopefully those people who were laid off or let go are going to be able to find somewhere else where they can find some employment. So in 2025, we could see more companies doing this type of thing where they are going to be restructuring and using that money to invest more into artificial intelligence technology to not only grow their business, but find an edge over their competition. So this is always important to be mindful of, and I'll make sure to keep you updated if any other information arises. Let's move on on to the next article. Schneider Electric clawed by Hellcat ransomware gang. The threat actors known as Hellcat claim to have stolen sensitive data from Schneider Electric, and the French industrial company has begun an investigation without formally acknowledging any data theft. The hackers claim to have breached the industrial company's driver-issued tracking system and are demanding a $125,000 ransom. This breach has compromised critical data, including projects, issues, and plugins, along with over 400,000 rows of user data, totaling more than 40 gigabytes compressed data. However, the cybercriminals note that the ransom will drop by half if Schneider Electric confirms the breach. If their demands are not met, they have threatened to make the data they stole from the vendor public. So that is more news related to data that has been stolen, and for some reason I've always said that I think this is going to pick up in the new year in 2025. So it's always important to keep watch of your own data, and for some reason a lot of systems continue to get hacked. I'm not sure if it's because the bad actors are getting better at what they're doing, or if it's because of the legacy systems that the technology was built on is very fragile and easy to crack. So that was some of the latest news in the world of technology. There's always interesting things happening. I don't want you to miss out on what's going on. So in order to stay informed, like the video, subscribe, and check out these two videos right here where I dive deeper into the things you should know happening in the world of technology.